I was sitting in that room behind me, the living room, underneath the earmuffs of sound of what do you call them?
Headphones?
The headphones. And I was listening to Neil Diamond's greatest hits. And I thought, that's nifty, to have a greatest hits. And I thought, wouldn't it be wonderful if we had Stanley Elkin's greatest hits? The world needs it.
Since 1964 and the publication of Boswell until 1979's publication of The Living End, Stanley Elkin has become, in the words of John Irving, the funniest writer in the most deadly serious school of contemporary fiction. And now, with the publication of Stanley Elkin's greatest hits, we may meet many of Stanley Elkin's most memorable characters, like Brewster Ashendon.
I've been spared a lot, one of the blessed of the earth, at least one of its lucky, that privileged handful of the dramatically prospering, the sort whose secrets are asked, like the 100-year-old man. There is no secret, of course. Most of what happens to us is simple accident. Highish birth and a smooth network of appropriate connection like a tea service written into the will. But surely something in the blood, too, locked into good fortune's dominant genes like a blast ripening in a time bomb. Set to go off my good looks and intelligence, yet exceptional still, take away my mouthful of silver spoon and lapful of luxury. Something my own, not passed on or handed down, something seized, rested. My good character, hopefully, my taste, perhaps. What's mine? What's mine? Say taste. The soul's harmless appetite. I've money, I'm rich, the heir to 4 fortunes. Mother was an O. Her mother was the chemical engineer who first discovered a feasible way to store oxygen in tanks. And father was Noel Ashendon, who, though he did not actually invent the matchbook, went into the field when it was still a not very flourishing novelty, and whose slogan, almost a poem, close cover before striking, a simple stroke, as father liked to say, obvious only after someone else has already thought of it. The patent office refused to issue a patent on what it claimed was merely an instruction, but father's company had the message on its matchbooks before his competitors even knew what was happening. Removed the hazard from book matches and turned the industry and father's firm particularly into a flaming success overnight. Father's joke, not mine. Later, when the inroads of Ronson and Zippo threatened the business, father went into seclusion for 6 months, and when he returned to us, he had produced another slogan, for our matchless friends. It saved the industry a second time and was the second and last piece of work in father's life. There are people who gather in the spas and watering places of this world, who poo-poo our fortune, après-ski, cozy in their wools, handsome before their open hearths. They scandalize amongst themselves in whispers, imagine, they say, saved from ruin because of some cornball sentiment available in every bar and grill and truck stop in the country. It's not what? Snobs. Phooey on the first families, on railroad, steel mill, automotive, public utility, banking, and shipping fortunes, on all hermetic legacy, morganatic and blockbuster bloodlines that change the maps and landscapes and alter the mobility patterns. Your jungle wheeling and downtown dealing a stone's throw from warfare. I come of good stock. Real estate, mineral water, oxygen, matchbooks, earth, water, air, and fire, the old elementals of the material universe, a belly-button economics, a linchpin one.
Stanley Elkin, reading the opening lines of The Making of Ashendon, one of 3 novellas which appears in his 1973 book, Searches and Seizures.
At the beginning of Searches and Seizures, you talk about how you write, that you're a nervous writer, and that you don't actually derive much pleasure from it.
That's right.
Or if you do, it's minimal.
Or if I do, I'm crazy. It's in a kind of way enough to get a page and a half done, or even a page done every day. I mean, that's sort of optimum. And the writer, any writer, flays himself on days that he has failed to deliver the quota. And while I don't get any particular pleasure out of writing, it's like hitting your head against the wall. When you stop, it feels good. So when I stop after having written a page or so, I feel okay until I have to begin again the next day. It's just a guilt trip.
How about the greatest hits? How's that doing?
Fairly well, I think. But when I say fairly well, we're talking about the distances on Rand McNally maps. We're talking scale, 1 inch to 100 miles. So I'm talking inches, not 100 miles.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do they let you know how it's doing? How do you find out?
Well,
about
I think that the first printing, I think that the first printing was about 10,000, and maybe 7,500 of those have been placed, or 8,000 of those have been placed. But that's not bad, actually. Yeah, it is. It's bad.
Well, to think that over 7,000 people have read your book is...
Big deal. Over 700,000 have read, mailers.
Oh, Norman Mailer?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see. Right. Well...
I'm not complaining. As long as they continue to publish the damn things, I'll continue to write them. And I do have a small audience, and there's nothing I can do about that. There's something the publisher can do about that. They could sell, dead cats on a stick if they wanted to. But it would mean, taking a kind of risk on their part. Mm-hmm. It's not taking any risk to publish me, because they limit the first printing to 10,000 copies, and so they get rid of 8,000 of those. They've done all right.
Author Stanley Elkin, whose greatest hits has just been published. We heard Stanley Elkin read from the Making of Ashendon, the complete novella, which appears in the 1973 book Seizures and Seizures. I'm Lorin Cuoco.